Welcome to Topsail Insider, where you can hear all about the businesses and events in the beautiful coastal towns in the greater Topsail area of North Carolina. Get ready for an insightful episode as I chat with Mr. Jeremy Shugarts. Jeremy wears many hats. He's the proud owner of several thriving businesses in Surf City and Hampstead, including a popular coffee shop, wine bar, and party rental service. He also serves as the Mayor Pro Tem of Surf City. We'll be discussing how he balances his roles in business and politics while staying committed to serving his community. Experience a new level of luxury on Topsail Island at Saltwater Suites in Surf City, North Carolina. With no nightly minimum, you can enjoy short getaways or an extended stay. Each suite features luxury bedding, full kitchens with dining tables and dishwashers. And all suites other than the 3 ADA suites have full-size washers and dryers. And don't forget about those beautiful ocean views. 24/7 self-check-in provides a hassle-free and seamless experience. Saltwater Suites is the perfect choice for your next beach getaway. Book your next Topsail visit at saltwatertopsail.com or call 910-886-4818. Saltwater Suites, Topsail Island's premier luxury hospitality experience. Come on out to Surf City Line for the best made-from-scratch beach and bowls on Topsail Island. Treat yourself to their delicious bowls, peel and eat shrimp, beach break salads, and a whole lot more. And come thirsty and enjoy their full bar serving handcrafted cocktails, incredible margaritas, and they proudly serve North Carolina craft beer. The Line boasts the biggest deck on the island with 3 levels for listening to live music, relaxing in the sun, or head on up to the top deck and enjoy your meal with ocean views. Visit surfcitylinenc.com for their full food, bar, and brunch menus. The best service and vibes on the island await you at 2112 North New River Drive. Whether you're a local or visiting from out of town, celebrating a special occasion, or just soaking up the sun with family and friends, Surf City Line is the place to be for food, fun, and beach memories. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Topsail Insider. My name is Krista, and I am your host. As the host of Topsail Insider, I get the privilege of speaking to owners of a wide variety of businesses that make our coastal towns amazing in so many ways. And today is certainly no exception. Today, I have the pleasure of sitting down with the owner of multiple businesses in Surf City and Hampstead, as well as being Surf City's Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Jeremy Shugarts. Hi, Jeremy. How are you?
Hello, Krista. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for sitting down with me and giving me this time. I really appreciate it.
Well, I was super excited about this.
While Jeremy wears many hats in our community today, we're going to be primarily focused on his entrepreneurial endeavors. So we'll be discussing 5 of Jeremy's businesses today. Jeremy, please tell us the names of those 5 businesses and give me a brief description of each one.
The first business is called The Daily Grind, which is located in Surf City, North Carolina on North Topsail Drive. It is a coffee shop, ice cream shop, smoothies. It's really like we call it a Starbucks on steroids. It really is. Second business, we have a business called UnWINEd, which is a wine and beer bar. What we did was we have a 2,800 square foot building, and we had about 600 square foot of closet space, which we turned into a wine bar.
Let me just make it clear to our listeners. The name is so clever. It's not unwind like UNWIND. It's the word wine, D. And
yes,
it's very
correct.
cute.
Yes. And that comes along with a deck that holds over 100 people with 2 stages. We do 19 acts of music on those 2 stages during the summertime. Everybody knows what Topsail Island's all about in the summer. We also have a business called Thread FX. The business is 25 years old. We've only owned it. It'll be 2 years this November. A wonderful couple own that business. We took that biz over. It is a screen printing, embroidery, novelty company. Another one we have is called Shoreline Party Rentals, which was in Holly Ridge, was a business that was around for 15 years. Wonderful lady retired. We purchased the biz from her. And it is everything from tables, tents, chairs, and linens. You need something for a party or a wedding, we can handle it. And the last one is our real estate management business, which we do Shugarts Family Properties, which we own residential and commercial real estate properties. And so that's probably my most exciting of all of them because they're, yes, yeah.
Okay, because we didn't discuss that one thoroughly. And I felt like I don't know a lot about that business in particular. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that.
Yeah, that one is and if I could just say this, the daily grind, those businesses are, I would say, for the short-term gratification where the money's instant. Anytime you have properties, real estate, property management, that becomes long-term, and that is when you're self-employed, you don't have retirement. So everything that you do, you have to plan for the future. So yes.
Gotcha.
Yep,
very smart.
Yep.
Okay. So as mentioned earlier, you are Surf City's mayor pro tem. Can you share with us how you balance the demands of these 5 businesses and your responsibilities to public service and how those businesses are impacting and supporting the community?
Yeah. So one of the things that I always have had this dream of being is in serving and being in local politics. I always thought it was very intriguing. Ronald Reagan always says that local politics is the purest form of government because if there's a pothole in front of my house or my driveway and I call my governor or my president, it's not going to get fixed.
Right.
Or my state representative, but I can call somebody in local government and I can get that fixed. So I always thought that was intriguing. I love service. I love helping people. I like when somebody down the street at Margarita's, the owner, Bernardo, calls me up and says, hey, look, my water's not running. Can you help me? And I can make a call to the public utilities. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to serve. I will say that it is thankless. There's a reason why good people don't run for public office. One of the things that happens is when I moved here 15 years ago, I'm still considered an outsider, even though I lived here 15 years ago. I ran for city council and was elected. It was the mainland. We have 2 different parts of Surf City, right? We have the island and the mainland, and it was the people on the mainland that voted me in because that was where a new representation was, new developments, new housing. And so I would say probably one of the first, if not the first, can't say it's factual, but I could say one of the first, if not the first person that was elected to our city council that was not from the area.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's been challenging.
With my research, I understand you have faced quite a few challenges.
I have. It's been challenging. And it's been, I don't mind adversity. I remember a good friend of mine once told me that if you stick your head above the crowd, you're going to get hit by a tomato. When you do the right thing and you tell the truth, the truth sets you free. So never been worried about adversity.
When I was doing some research about you and your businesses, I came across an interview where you mentioned there were 3 segments to our population here. And I really liked that. And I thought it was very true. Do you remember this conversation where there's like the people who just moved here? There's also a segment that is, like you said, the ones like you and myself included. We've been here for a minute, but we're
enough
still
to make a difference. We've been here long enough that we make a difference in the community.
And then there was the 3rd segment, and those are the people who've lived here longer than 20 years. Talk to me about how hard it may be to please all 3 different segments.
What you do is, for example, when I wanted to start a business in Surf City, one of the things I looked at was how does it affect all 3 of those demographics, right? And if you always find a product or a service that people need, want, and have to have, you can obtain that goal by affecting all 3 groups of those people. For example, people in Surf City, people that have been here a long time, that are successful, that have made their way here, their families have been here, right? And so if you bring a business in that complements their beliefs, they'll support your business. So that's the thing is I think we appeal to all different demographics of people here in our businesses. And that's one of the things that I've always looked for is the biz I'm going to be involved in, purchase, is it going to be able to affect all those demographics of people? Can
you share how you balance those demands as Mayor Pro Tem, managing 5 businesses? That's not an easy task.
And 6 children.
And 6 children. And how many grandchildren? 1
grandchild and a wonderful wife. So the wife is, it's funny, most of the times guys let's talk guys in general because I'm a guy. We don't really give credit to the other half when we're super successful most of the time. I listen to the podcast or I hear people talk about they did this financially, they did this and this. But, for me, I'm the face. I look good, I always say. I smell good, right? I talk good. But she's the one that really keeps things together. Human resources, payroll. She's the one that is the person that says, okay, it's time to stop, drop, and roll when I'm still running down the street.
Gotcha.
So you first is, I think, having her to be able to manage what I do. And the second thing is, you look at your children. I think for me, it's been, I would say initially when I got into city government, I brought it home with me. I would say my next term, I quit bringing it home. And when I turned the car key off and I got off the phone, because I always was on the phone on the way home, we didn't talk about it when I got in the house, because it's not their fault that I was torturing them with this commitment. And because what I mean by torturing them is you pay a heavy price to be into local politics. Everybody does. And it may not be a negative price, but it could be a time commitment away from your family.
100%. And
traveling is very important for me too. You know, we have to, I think all of us have to get out and get away and shut ourselves off from the world. So, you know, those are some things I've been able to balance myself with. I want to say one thing too, is I think this is critical. So I have a good friend of mine, owns a couple Chick-fil-A's. Tony and I were talking one day, and Tony says to me, you know, I said, Tony, you know, how do you manage 235 employees? How do you do all this? And he says, well, my main manager's goals are to manage me. And so that creates balance. Well, because he says, you know, I'm going to come in and want to do my thing, but your job is to manage me to make sure I'm not getting in the way of how you want to run and do things. And so that is a part of balance in my life, is the managers that we have at our business, they manage me, which makes the businesses run more effective.
So it sounds like when they tell you, Jeremy.
I just had that moment today, actually.
Oh, did you really?
I did. I had one of those moments today. And
Tell me about it.
After about 10, well, I said, what are we doing with this cooler? She said, well, I don't want to do this. I want to do this. And I said, well, it doesn't make any sense. And she said, well, I want it to be here. And I finally stopped and said, okay, you're right. I give up. I walked away. You're right. And she's like, okay. Because the point is, she's here 50 hours a week, not me.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, you just have to kind of sometimes back off. And then she came back and she says, I want to finish explaining to you this, because you told me I'm supposed to be managing you. And I said, oh, she used my own words against me. But, you know, that's a big thing and I know that I also think that a part of helping a community is creating jobs and creating opportunity for people. And I'll never forget when I first started my first coffee shop down here, the mayor at the time was a guy named Xander Guy, wrote a letter thanking my business. And I think I provided 20 jobs in the community. And that's, I think, important in a small community, providing, you know, outlets for people to be able to work and make income and be able to spend that money back in the community. You know, one other thing I just wanted to really, you know, you said, how do you create balance? I'm not a career politician, so therefore it's easy to balance things. You know, this is all you are and who you are and what you're going to do, things can become top heavy one way. But I know this isn't my only thing for life.
Politics, you mean?
Politics, yes. So I've got to make sure that I pay equal attention to everything, because when politics are not there anymore, I've got to make sure that I have those other things in place.
Politics is not in your long-term plan.
It is not, for sure. I mean, would I love to? Absolutely. I would love to be a 25 or 30-year politician, because I love public service. Love it. But I also have a family. I also have employees, managers, businesses, friends, family. You have all of that. That is as important to me as the public services. Can't do it all is the problem.
Well, you've got 5 businesses and you have 6 kids and you have a wife and a grandchild. So it sounds like that would already be the top heavy part.
I coached football for 20 years.
That's right.
High school football, college football, semi-pro football. My wife's a volleyball coach. We do all those things.
Yeah. You have a lot going on outside of politics.
We have to balance life, for sure.
So going back to creating the jobs here in our area, how difficult is it, particularly in our environment, which is a tourist-driven environment? How difficult is it to keep those employees, keep them employed through the low seasons? 2
of our businesses are affected solely by shoulder season. What that meant is, before it used to be Memorial Day to Labor Day, you made money, hand over fist. I remember somebody coming to me years ago in my coffee shop. I didn't know who he was, and he owned a business down here, and he said to me, you know, Jeremy, I got to give you words of advice. If you're going to stick around long term, don't spend what you make. And I'm like, okay. And he said, because you have to live off the 3 months for the next 9.
Yeah.
And I've watched tons of businesses. I would say 25, 30 businesses, if not more, come in and out. They use all their money from that summer, and then they can't pay their bills in the winter. Now, but what's happened on the off side of things, the down season now here is January, February, March now. That's really the down season. So you really have 3 months, maybe 4 months of down season instead of 9 months. So the shoulder seasons are getting smaller. So I think it's, for us, we've only got to last 3 months. So we work on keeping those people employed in those 3 months they don't go somewhere else. You know, so by maybe staffing one extra person more than we really wanted to, but you know, at the end of the day, it keeps those people around from looking for more jobs or leaving you and going somewhere else.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you were just talking about the things that you and your wife have done, like coaching and whatnot. The businesses that you have, they all seem fairly new, but you did say the first coffee shop you opened. So Daily Grind is not the first coffee shop?
No, it is. It is the first coffee
okay.
shop. But we had, at one time, we had Wrightsville Beach, Wilmington, we had Sneed's Ferry, Jacksonville, 2 in Surf City.
Oh.
So we had multiple locations.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, we did multiple locations. And unfortunately, we learned a very valuable lesson. In fact, one of my friends that's in law enforcement one day came to my house and says, hey, can I tell you something always that's bothered me a little bit? He says, I stop at your store. You're never there. And I says, yeah, because I'm always in Jacksonville or Wrightsville Beach or another place. And he says, the store grows where you're at. So wherever you are, it happens. And so I was spreading myself too thin. The one store was making all the money for all the other stores. So sometimes it's better to have one apple than a bushel of apples.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get
Especially if you have a couple rotten ones in there and then the bushel goes bad.
Pulling the other one down. Right.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. So these businesses that you have, they're relatively speaking, they're new, right? How long was
the Daily Grind's 15 years.
15 years,
yeah.
Okay.
And UnWINEd is going on its 5th year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. 5th summer, excuse me. We go by summers here.
I'm learning that.
We go by summers.
Yeah.
And then you have, Shoreline, it's new to us, but it's 15 years old.
Right.
And Threat Effects is new to us, but it's 25 years old.
Right.
So I wouldn't really say we have, probably our Shugarts Family Properties is probably the newest in the last 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah,
okay.
I would say so, yeah.
Okay, so before all of these businesses, before you came here and got into the politics, opened all these businesses, what did you do in Ohio? What did you do from the very beginning?
I was in the event management business, conventions, concerts, and that is why probably my biggest strength and wheelhouse is we were a middle management company for companies would hire us to put conventions on.
Large conventions.
Large.
Yes.
Some conventions were 30,000 people, and so we would rent a Coliseum out. We would handle lodging, hotel rooms, and we would do that in South Africa. We would do that in Mexico. We'd do that in Florida or Georgia. We did it all over California.
Tell me a little bit more about the coaching that you did.
Yeah, so I first got into high school football coaching up in Ohio. Really enjoyed it. Coached at a couple high schools there, and then I moved into college football coaching. I coached at a NAIA college up in Canton, Ohio. After I did a stint of that, I decided that I just wanted to really it was a time sucker. My wife always says to me when we go, if we partake in the sacraments of a drink or so, we have a rule, only one of us gets to do that. You can stay safe. One always drives, whenever, even when we're on vacation. So she says to me, if she's having a few cocktails, I'm a fun sucker. So, so one of the things is it is a time sucker when you coach football. And as you miss things with your children, you miss everything. So, but once again, it's service. I love service. And I decided when we moved down here, I was not going to coach anymore. And I ended up at someone's house one night and somebody talked me into coming to something. Here I am. I ended up being a football coach at a local high school here.
Dixon High School. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
For several years. It was a fantastic stint.
And tell me about Tracy, and she's very involved. Is she currently involved with volleyball?
She coached high school volleyball in Ohio, excuse me.
Okay.
She actually, the year before we moved here, she became the coach of the year in Ohio.
Nice.
For women's volleyball in high school, which is out of 1,087 high schools.
Incredible.
She moved down here. She became the JV head coach with Hill Pearsall at Topsail High School. And her and Mr. Pearsall coached 12 years together. In the same time factor, she became the head volleyball coach at Surf City Middle School. Sure. And when she resigned last year, she stayed on at Surf City Middle, and that's what she does still.
And she runs the volleyball camps as well?
She does for the Parks and Rec. Yep,
she still does that?
She does that, and they pack them out and sell them out.
Hey, if you thought it couldn't get any better than Saltwater Suites, well, I have some exciting news. I am thrilled to announce the grand opening of the new Saltwater Resort this May in the heart of Surf City, North Carolina. Saltwater Resort will absolutely redefine hospitality, creating a truly elevated vacation experience. All 24 suites offer opulent bedding, full-size washers and dryers, and well-appointed kitchens equipped with dining tables and dishwashers. And now you can relax and enjoy their beautiful saltwater pool. Are you ready to elevate your next Topsail adventure? Reserve your stay at saltwatertopsail.com or call 910-886-4818. Saltwater Resort, where luxury meets the waves and every moment is a celebration. Hey Insiders, if you haven't tried Surf City Line, what are you waiting for? If you have, you already know how amazing their beach and bowls are and how wonderful that multi-level deck is for listening to live music, soaking up the sun, and enjoying food, drinks, and some of the best service on Topsail Island. Follow Surf City Line on Facebook and Instagram, where you'll find their lineup for their live entertainment. Feel like walking off that delicious food before heading home? Well, take their walkway right to the ocean for a quick stroll on the beach. They have plenty of parking right next to the restaurant and a large lot across the street. They're located at 2112 North New River Drive, where Surf City meets North Topsail. I'll see you at Surf City Line. All right, you said you had 6 children and you have 1 grandchild. I have that right?
That's correct.
So 15 years. Your kids grew up here.
They did.
Are they all still living here locally?
We have one that lives with us. He's 15. He'll be 16 in May.
Okay. All right.
So we have, they live in Ohio. 3 live here. 3 here, 2 in Ohio, 1 in Hawaii.
So have any of your kids ever talked about having political aspirations?
Absolutely not. I was, with 6 children, you say, oh gosh, I really want one of them to be in business for themselves. I want them to, you hope that one of your children will run one of your business. So
yes.
First one is in a military career. Doesn't look promising. His wife will probably work for us remotely, which is a blessing. Awesome. Second one, she's in her own career, loves our businesses, but she's in her career being obviously a therapist. And then the third, he's in his own career up in Ohio. And the fourth one finally decided that she wanted to be in business with us and wanted to be self-employed. So our fourth one, she has said, maybe I should run for city council and maybe I can be on council with you, Dad. I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. I'll let you just stick in. But she's super dynamic. She's probably for the female version of me. And then the fifth one, no deal to politics or business. She is probably going to be something with forensics or therapy. Okay. And then the last one, number 6, looks like we're going to have one that wants to be in business for himself. Okay. Yeah. So
that's the 15-year-old that's still at home.
Yes, he definitely likes to be his own boss and wants to be my boss. And yeah, not my wife's boss because she won't handle that.
She won't stand for that.
Not at all. Not at all.
So going into a little more detail now about each of those 5 businesses, let's go ahead and start with Daily Grind and UnWINEd, since they are connected on the same property. Tell us a little bit about each of those entities and the atmosphere that you've created in each one for the community.
Yeah. So, first thing is I want to make sure life is a gamble. Everything you do is a gamble, whether it's work your job, have children, take a vacation, save money, spend money, everything's a gamble. And, my wife is not a risk taker. I have to take full credit for the first couple until I start rubbing off on her.
For Daily Grind and UnWINEd?
Yeah, so they were first my brainchild. And then obviously she nurtures those along, does an incredible job. But she doesn't drink coffee, doesn't like smoothies, doesn't eat ice cream. It's really good profit-wise for us. So the Daily Grind, when we started it, we were just planning on doing just coffees, frappuccinos, lattes, really. And then as the business started to grow, when we opened that door, we automatically were inundated with customers. It was amazing. And we started to service the needs of what people were used to, which was going and getting themselves a latte somewhere. But, where Tracy and I work that business, we didn't have employees. We were there from 6 in the morning until 6 at night.
Okay.
Right? Because, well, first of all, we needed to make a living, number one. And number 2 is that's when you're in business for yourself, you do the work. And anybody that's in business for themselves will understand. You can't start a business and have a bunch of employees and have them do all the work. You should be in there. Sweat equity comes from you. You should be cleaning the toilets. You should be doing the hard work. You should be doing the things that you need to do. Once we got that business off and running, we started to expand the business. We opened an ice cream shop in Surf City at one time. It was called the Daily Dip. I remember we opened this up. It was 2 doors down from our coffee shop in a plaza. And the day we opened the door, I'll never forget, a school bus showed up. My first customers was 43 children.
No way.
Yeah, it was fantastic. But,
that is great.
As time went on, we realized the need to merge those two. So we brought the ice cream into the daily grind. So now we had ice cream to offer. One of the things we've always done each year is we've always tried to either update our products or add new products. If you walk into our store, we've got 2,000 square feet on this side of the house of merchandise, T-shirts, mugs, hats, visors, sweatshirts, hoodies, things that you can take home from Surf City. And that has been something that's been wonderful for us because we do more a year in merchandise sales than we did our first 3 years in business.
Okay. Oh, wow.
That's how much merchandise we do. And it's because people like that take home from Surf City here.
Yeah.
So we added breakfast sandwiches, and then you had lunch sandwiches.
Which look amazing, by the way.
Thank you. I need to make you one. You'll love them.
Oh my gosh.
Sure.
Yeah. Y'all just posted one recently. I was drooling.
Nothing's out of a box. We make it, and we have a food purveyor.
It's a croissant.
So it's amazing. So we're always adding new stuff. We're working on some new stuff for this year. We always want to stay one step ahead.
What about those donuts?
Now, we started making donuts after 2 or 3 years into the process. And I think that donut machine is made, because it has a counter on it, 400,000 donuts. So we've been, like I said, always have something new, trying to stay on the cutting edge. That's one of the unique things about the Daily Grind is. And what makes it the best is our customer service. You're not going to go anywhere, and you're not going to get better customer service than what we provide here at our store. I will go somewhere if it's mediocre, but the customer service is amazing, I'll go back. Right?
100%.
But if it's mediocre and the customer service sucks, I'm not going back.
Right. I agree with you.
If it's good and the customer service is great, I'm gonna go back twice. And if it's outstanding and the customer service is excellent, I'm gonna go back a lot. And that's
I'm
what
gonna tell my
here.
friends.
And that's what we provide here. Correct.
The deck, did y'all add that on later?
That was created for the wine bar, actually.
It was specifically.
It was not created for the coffee shop. So
what time does a wine bar open?
Opens at 11 o'clock during the week. In the summer, that is, of course. Well, that May through September area. And one of the things we do is we have a kitchen that the wine bar and the coffee shop both share. So we have to be able to flip that kitchen from breakfast to lunch because we make lunch food at the wine bar.
Okay. What time does Daily Grind open for coffee in the mornings?
6 a.m. Sometimes it's 7 in the winter, deep winter. But, if there's somebody here, usually there's several people here early or 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. We have people come to the door and we let them in.
When does Daily Grind shut down for the day?
In the summertime, we're open till 10 or 11 at night. Depends on, right?
Okay.
And in the wintertime, we're open till 6 in the evening or 7.
Okay. Then when you added UnWINEd.
Greatest thing I ever did.
Added the deck.
I love it.
Yeah?
Wine and beer, we have 55 wines, 55 beers. Most of our wines are non-grocer. I don't know if you know what that means.
Say it again.
A non-grocer item.
I don't.
What a non-grocer item is, they're going to come buy a bottle of wine from me, but they cannot find that in the grocery store.
Okay, interesting.
And so you try when you're, if you do have a legit wine bar, you really do want to carry a selection that they can't go out and buy in the store because then they become depressed when they paid you $31 for the bottle, but they can get it for $14 at Harris Teeter.
Right.
So you try to have as many non-grocery items as possible.
So how do you find those? How do you curate that list?
We have 3 distributors, our wine distributors, and sit down with us. They'll have conversation with us. We do wine tastings. We go to
I was going to ask about that.
Wine conferences. You do things that they give you options, and they want you to be successful. So they want to come in and they want you to move as much of their product as possible. So I'm due for a wine tasting here in the next 2 weeks from a couple different places. You want to be here for that because, you have to have a designated driver too. So, but what'll happen is we'll probably change over 25% of our wines for this year.
What kind of lunch items or food items are you offering through well into the evening?
Yeah, we carry paninis, hot, fresh paninis. We make them right in the back. We have turkey, bacon, chicken, bacon. We have, or without the bacon, roast beef, steak. We have a brie and raspberry. We have a ham and cheese panini with Dijon mustard. All those come with some sides. We have salads, pizzas we make here. We're not a pizza shop. We order the shells in from our distributor, construct them, but they're a great thing to have with a glass of wine. So they're good. I think they're good. But, somebody wants to come and say, your pizzas are just like, they're not. I said, well, we're not a pizza shop.
Right, yeah.
We do crab dips and shrimp and crab dips.
Charcuterie boards.
Charcuterie boards. The charcuterie boards are amazing. just a whole host of dips, hot and cold dips. It's fantastic. So,
Wonderful.
Yes.
And tell me about the live music that you have.
We're the only place that I know of that has dueling stages. So we have 2 stages on our deck. And the rationale behind that was, let's say we had entertainment from 4 to 7, and then they quit, and then the next person started at 8 o'clock. So in that hour, people would leave because the music wasn't playing.
Oh, I get that.
They cash their tabs out and they check out. So what we said was, look, let's take a Saturday morning in July or June or May. 10 o'clock, the music starts. Let's say Mike Rooney's playing the steel drums at 10 o'clock in the morning. It sounds fantastic. At 1 o'clock, he finishes and introduces the guy on the next stage.
Nice.
And he starts.
I like
and
that.
He'll play 1 to 4. And then at 4, he introduces the guy on the opposite stage at 4 o'clock. He plays 4 to 7, introduces the gal on the opposite stage.
You just have a continuous flow of music that keeps people sitting there.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for sure.
That's very smart. I like that.
Obviously, it's well lit, and we have stage light. It is a great environment. We don't have rock bands, and those are great. We don't have what we are is really just a single or a second artist that comes up and performs on that stage. Really, to drink a glass of wine, have a beer, have a conversation. That's what we were designed for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it difficult to get these acts lined up?
I would say yes and no. No, in the fact my wife's got, I think, about 140 people on her roster. And she does all the bookings. She does it herself. She's like an agency.
Tracy's a dynamo.
She is more than a dynamo. She handles all that. So they have communication with her, and she gives them the dates, and then people pick the dates.
Nice. Okay, let's talk about those names, because Daily Grind and UnWINEd are both very clever names. Who came up with those?
I did on both.
You did?
Yeah, I did on both. Funny though, we'll go to other cities. I've been into Maryland, and I've seen a Daily Grind.
Oh, you have? Okay.
But they found the name online from us, and we didn't trademark the name or service mark the name. I don't care.
What about UnWINEd?
I haven't seen another one of those.
No.
But I don't care if somebody wants to take the idea and run, knock it out. I mean, more power to them.
Wow, you're more generous than I am. I'd be like,
I know, but the thing is, we have to take care of our world and not worry about everybody else's.
Yeah.
Right?
You drive yourself crazy doing that.
You really will.
Okay, everybody. So the address is 114 North Topsail Drive in Surf City. What can you tell me about the parking situation? Because I know in the summertime it can be a little tricky.
It is. And so we went to paid parking I don't know if you're aware of this, but we have paid parking in Surf City.
We do. Yeah.
So I was one of the individuals instrumental in instituting that.
So some people really hate you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I'm always going to have that. Polarizing, they call me. So.
But you're bringing money into the city.
Well, and that was the thing is, so one of the things we needed to do was we needed to create some revenue for Surf City. And that was, how do we create revenue without, you got to raise taxes. So as an elected official who has a business in Surf City, now what I do as an elected official will affect my business and other businesses.
Right. Yeah.
So we kind of looked at the dynamics through the guidance of our manager, the council, our mayor. We sat down, we talked about, look, how do we do this effectively? So we said, let's do paid parking, but let's give free parking to the people that live here, so it doesn't affect them. So if you live in Dogwood Lakes or Turtle Creek or Poplar Branch, which is 3-4 miles from here on the mainland, you receive 2 free parking passes.
Okay.
You pay taxes. You're a homeowner. You get 2 free parking passes. If you live on this island and you have a home, you own a home, you get 2 free parking passes. So we didn't feel like we were affecting our citizens at all by this. They got their 2 passes, did not do anything to them. But what we said was, truckload of people come in from Jacksonville and they pull up and they come and they use our beach for the day. And I'm glad they do that, but we're paying the bill for that, right? What are we doing? We're cleaning up the garbage. We're cleaning the restrooms up. We're cleaning the beaches up. And at the end of the day, this was a way that we could collect some funds to go towards fixing our beach and towards tourism. And so we're raising over $1 million a year from that process.
Okay. What kind of feedback did you get from the people who live here who do get those 2 parking passes? I
think that it's kind of funny. We always talk about, sometimes I find myself polarizing, but on the other side.
You, Jeremy?
Yeah, me, no, yes. But on the other side is, most people, I would say, didn't complain. You have a small group of people.
Yeah.
Look, we're taking care of you. If you explain that to people, what I just said, we're raising funds without raising your taxes. And the people that are paying for it are the people that are visiting. It's brilliant, right? Now, this was a big discussion. Well, I live in Hampstead, right? Or I live in Sneeds Ferry, and I got to pay to come to your beach. Okay, so I don't get dump sticker to dump at the dump in
In
Hampstead.
Hampstead, yeah.
Right? I live in Pender County, but I don't get that because I live in Surf City.
Okay.
So it does wash out a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, I'm not pointing figures, and I there has to be a line somewhere.
It's hard to find that line when you're sitting in the positions that the city council sits in to please everybody.
Now, how did that affect my business is the question, you know?
How? Tell me.
It does. People come in, they're super upset, pissed off to be exact.
Really?
Because they got a parking ticket where they were coming in to get a coffee.
Oh, okay.
You know, I've had people come in, slam a parking ticket on the counter and said, this coffee cost me $52.86. Well, no, it really didn't. You didn't pay for parking out there. You could have, you know, and when you go to most cities on the East Coast, you have to pay to park at the beach. So it did when I have 12 spots or whatever. So my parking lot's always full. But
so you have 12 spots in your parking lot that's dedicated to your business.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then all of the spots that are outlined on the street here, those are paid parking.
Yes.
Okay.
And the lot across the street also.
And
the lot behind me. So now something else we do too is, you know, like my employees, we buy all their parking passes, you know, so it doesn't cost my employees. Think about the benefit. A person works for me for the summer. They can go to the beach for free the whole summer when they're not working for me because we buy their parking passes for them.
Well, that's a perk.
It is. And a lot of these businesses around here do the same thing.
They're doing it too.
I don't know if they buy them for their employees, but they get a discount from the city for those.
Oh.
We've just opted to purchase from them because we want to provide as much of an opportunity for people to be able to work for us. It shouldn't cost them to work for us. So that is one of the things that we think, you know, it's affected me as a business owner a little bit, but you got to take it on the chin sometimes for the betterment of the community.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
So you can find both Daily Grind and UnWINEd on Facebook and Instagram. Their website is dailygrindssurfcity.com and UnWINEd is UnWINEd. Remember, it's UnWINEd, surfcity.com, UnWINEdsurfcity.com. And I, of course, will always have all of this information in clickable links in the show notes, including the phone numbers and the emails. So just go to the show notes if you need that information. Okay, moving on. Next, I would like to actually not just talk about ThreatFX. I actually want to rave about ThreatFX because I love ThreatFX. I used it with the company that I used to work for. We used it extensively for our work shirts, getting the embroidery there. And I will say that the couple who did run ThreatFX prior to you buying it, it was always a wonderful experience. Never had any problems. But the level of service is like next level.
So the couple that owned the biz before, they had a part-time employee there and they lived above the place. And they were just really did not have a lot of expense. So now today there's 8 full-time employees there.
Yeah.
And they are turning that place upside down. We have a new warehouse being built in the back.
Oh, wow.
New equipment coming in daily.
Yeah.
So we're really, really, really doing some great things there. So we really are excited and proud of that. And by the way, that's 100% Tracy.
Oh, it is 100%.
100%.
Tracy, man.
She hit that one out of the park. She took a business and tripled the portfolio in 1 year.
Incredible.
Yes.
One of your daughters is there helping run that business.
Yep, her name is Karina. That's the
Karina.
one that's the female version of me.
Okay.
Yes,
gotcha.
for sure.
So that's family operated, clearly. You said that company had been around for 25 years before you bought it. Tell me about what led up to making that decision to buy ThreatFX.
We were purchasing all the gear from our shop from there. And so just the purchase of that compensated us to buy that business.
No kidding.
Yes, and what we use there.
Very smart move.
I want to tell you, there's kind of a slogan we have over at ThreatFX. So one of the things that we said is, you know, when we started hiring people and started building this business, Tracy and I said, listen, there are no obstacles. Remember, you always find a way to say yes. And that's why people, I think, are coming back to that business. And that's why we're able to do really what you need us to do, because there is no way there's an obstacle. If you need something, we're going to do it for you there. We're going to get it done.
I love it.
If the price isn't right, we're going to figure a way to make the price for you right.
All right.
So that's just how we would rather you say, hey, I can really get this for this much. Can you work with me on that? And we say yes. Then you don't give us that opportunity and that chance. And that's what they portray to people over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to cover the products that you're doing there. You're doing the screen printing. You're doing embroidery. You mentioned you have 12 colors of shirts that are in-house that you can pull from. Is that right? Am I saying it right?
No, we have thousands of shirts you can pull from.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, for sure. So our selection is massive on what we can get now. You know, we have new contracts with new manufacturers, and you have to pay for those. You pay for those relationships. And so we've done a lot of investing to be able to have what we need to be able to do what we have to do.
Okay.
So if you need a Richardson hat, or if you need a shirt, a particular type of shirt, if you need a And you got to know that Under Armour's carried by here, Comfort Colors are carried by this. So you have to know who's carries who and what contracts and rights you have for that. Plus, we do a lot of the digitizing and a lot of the creation in-house now. Most all our work is done in-house now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, we were using you to do the embroidery on our work shirts. You do a lot of team logos for all the local teams locally. Koozies.
Pencils.
Yeah. Sweatshirts, hoodies, hats. And you have a pretty fast turnaround as well.
We do. We've had as quick as 24-hour turnaround for embroidery work. And, there's a rush fee, obviously. And we bought new embroidery equipment, which has given us the next level. We're able to get some stuff done.
Do you also do the larger signs?
Yes, we do signs, banners. Some of that we have to subcontract out, which we're good with, but we have some great relationships with some other companies, large companies that, they need companies like us to be able to sub out with them.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, everybody. So ThreadFX is located at 20184 US Highway 17 North in Hampstead. The website is threadfxnc.com and the email address is info@threadfxnc.com. You can also reach them by phone at 910-270-5031, and all of that information again will be found in the show notes. So right next door to ThreadFX is Shoreline Party Rentals. It wasn't always next door. Tell me how you acquired Shoreline Rentals and why you moved it.
We used Shoreline Party Rentals for years to rent things for get-togethers. We do a lot of entertaining. We do a big Memorial Day party every year, which last year...
just personally in your home, you mean?
We had, for example, we had last year over 340 people come to our home for a Memorial Day party.
Nice.
It was... and we rented items from that year after year after year. And we got to know her for Christmas events, tablecloth linens. And she said, look, I'm looking to sell. And I'm like, yeah, Tracy, don't want anything else. And as time went on, we realized it was going to be equitable for both of us. And so we decided that we were going to dive into this. We knew that we needed to move it out of Holly Ridge, not because we don't like Holly Ridge, because we needed to get closer to our other operations.
Right.
We had an extra building that when we purchased that business and that property was on there, and that's when we made the move to that.
Okay. So you didn't build a new building there specifically to house Shoreline. It was already there on that property.
Yes, correct.
That makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. So all the lights were green. She quit doing tents a couple years ago because of finding the bodies to send the tents up, the liability, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
So we got back into the tent business. So we do tents, tables, chairs, linens, whatever you need, portable bars. We do it all.
Okay.
And so it's fantastic. We got a great team of people. All the people that work for us are retired. They are professional guys that come in and it's super fantastic. So looking forward to be able to get something for somebody. We're the only tent place between Wilmington and New Bern, by the way.
I remember you saying that. That's
Unless
really
there's
cool.
one I don't know of, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have people from Jacksonville and New Bern calls all the time for tents.
Even as far as New Bern.
Yes.
That's great.
Yep.
I did, when I was perusing your website, notice that you have a mobile bar, a trailer that you pull. Tell me about that a little bit.
Yeah, actually, one of the employees that works there, the associates for us, he was retired from the movie industry, and so he kind of runs the show there. He moved from California, and he and another one of his partners have this horse trailer they converted into a mobile bar.
It's so pretty.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
So it's just one of the things that we can offer there. Once again, we're working. He makes more money on that than we do, but the great thing about it is it's just one more product. We have also portable bars that can be set up. They're like a plastic steel that we can set up with a wrap on them. We can personalize the wrap for you. There's just a lot of options we have there.
Yeah. With that portable bar trailer, you can rent that however you want. You can rent it without a server, but you can also rent that and hire within your company, within Shoreline, a bartender to come and work the event.
Absolutely.
Can it come fully stocked?
No, you can purchase that also. Purchase it, which would come from UnWINEd.
Oh, of course. Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, the manager there, her name's Amanda Kemp. Her mother owned Shoreline Party Rentals for 15 years. Fantastic young lady. She also works up in North Topsail at St. Regis. She is the event coordinator, excuse me.
Does she still do that?
Yeah, she still does.
Okay.
Yes, she still does that. So we were fortunate. She has knowledge. She's professional, and she's turned the business around. It's amazing.
Oh, really?
Yes, she is. Her knowledge on event planning and that side of the business is incredible.
Did she come with you as soon as you...
No, we actually took a year for us. We should have gotten her the first year.
Oh,
so
okay.
Without her not being with us the first year, kind of slowed our growth down.
Sure.
Yeah. So now that we have her, we've seen a complete influx of business.
Love it. Shoreline Party Rentals is located at 20180 on Highway 17 in Hampstead, right next door to ThreadFX. The email address is shorelinepartyrentals@gmail.com, and the phone number there is 910-329-4687. And you can find them also on Facebook and Instagram under Shoreline Party Rentals. So again, look for those clickable links in my show notes. So our fifth and final business that we're going to discuss today is your property management business. What can you share with us about Shugarts Family Properties?
If I could go back in time, I have told my children, my friends, people that I work with, that the biggest thing I would do is I would invest in residential and commercial real estate.
Sooner.
Yeah, absolutely. Because one of the things it does is for us, it's self-employed. We don't have a 401k. I would rather purchase a home, let a renter pay that, obviously pay that payment. 10 years later, it's paid for. And now I have that asset, 100% equity in that asset for my retirement. And so that's one of the things that we are probably our biggest focus right now, actually, amongst all the businesses, is Shugarts Family Properties. We're in the process of working on a bunch of office flex space units in Hampstead. So we're working on that right now. And
can I ask where that's going to be?
It'll be not far from Threat Effects.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, in that area. So we are working on that right now. Just got some rezoning done for that, which we're very excited about. We're working on some other properties on building some vacation rentals. So that is probably our biggest passion right now, is to build that business right now.
How many vacation properties do you have on the island?
Well, it's funny though. We've gotten rid of all our vacations and turned them to long-term rentals. And,
okay.
Yeah, because of the hard-pressed to find cleaning companies. We like the consistent income over let's be honest, any property that I have right now that used to do vacation rental made twice as much doing vacation rental, but there was a lot more headache with it.
Yeah.
And so the older you get, the less you want to do harder work. You want to work yourself out of work. And so that's why I'm more into long-term rentals. None of the properties that we've ever had a renter not in them for less than 5 days.
Oh, wow. That's really good.
Well, you have several variables here in North Carolina that you don't have in other areas, where if I bought a rental property in Canton, Ohio, I'm not going to say it would rent right away, but I'm saying here, because you've got Camp Lejeune, the Marine base.
Oh, yeah.
Inventory is low. Demand is high.
Yeah, it really is.
So if you buy a home here and you decide to rent that out, somebody's going to rent that home from you because they need the space.
Do you still own any properties in Ohio, or are you completely disconnected from Ohio now?
I'm completely disconnected. Yes, finally. Sold my last one a few years ago. So my whole thing about it is, if I could, like I say, as a businessman, I sell a cup of coffee and I make my money on that coffee. You spend the money, but you buy a house, the check comes every month. And so that's the difference in, I believe, or commercially, of an office space, they pay every month.
All right. You're the second business owner of multiple businesses that I've talked to recently who said they were running a commercial business and then just realized that real estate was the way to go. You got to transition to the real estate.
If I could go back 20 years, I would be in a completely different situation. Not that my situation's bad, but I wouldn't be in politics. That's for sure. I would be absorbed with the success of that. Yeah, is what I'm saying. Gosh. And it's exciting and fun. It really is. You meet a lot of great people, and there's a lot of great. It's funny. It's like if I'm driving a car. Let's say, what kind of car do you own?
A Jeep Cherokee.
Do you see other Jeep Cherokees out when you're driving?
I see a bunch. Yeah.
I never see a Jeep Cherokee, by the way. Right. I drive a Toyota Tundra, so I always see Toyota Tundras.
Yeah.
Right? So whatever you're in. Whatever mode you're in is the success you're going to have, what you're going to see. So if you're in that realm of real estate, you're going to get those deals. Things are going to come your way. So I get calls about things that you would never get. That call, because I'm in that mode. So it's definitely life changing for sure. And I know there's some other people and there's some podcasts you're doing that have so much more knowledge about real estate, commercial and rental properties than I do, but I can tell you it's probably one of the most fun things you could do. My son at 15 wants to buy his first duplex at 18.
See, that's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you think about the future he has as opposed to you and I, where he wants to. I said to him, hey, so think about it. You can live in half and rent the other half. It pays the payment. You know what he said to me? Why can't I just live at home and rent both halves?
He's a smart one. He's a smart one. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I just want to wrap up with something. Never be a prisoner of your past. It was just a lesson, not a life sentence. Remember that.
Okay. Say it again.
Said never be a prisoner of your past. It was just a lesson, not a life sentence.
Okay. What does that mean to you?
Well, I'm writing a book right now. It's called Not About the Chicken. So I'm writing this book, and I just want to say the book is really about life lessons. And just in a real quick summation about the book, I could just give it to you.
I want people to hear about this book. And it's called Not About the Chicken, which is an interesting name.
Yeah.
So please
one
tell
of the things
us about
that happened was I was running an event management business, a convention company, and there was some chatter going on the radios. You have radios to communicate with your staff. And I was up in the headquarters, and I could hear this, and I go down into the ballroom, and this lady's super upset about her dinner, and there was 3 event coordinators that I had hired that were working with this lady. They're like trying to offer a free bar tab and giving her a refund on her this and a refund on that. And there's this guy that this company paid $50,000 to speak to this group of people about changing their lives and making their lives better. And they always say you're either in a storm, leaving a storm, or you're going into a storm, but there's always a storm around you. You just go, how do you navigate the storm? And
I like that.
And she's missing all of this. And finally, this gal that's only worked for us for 6 months leans over to her and says, ma'am, no disrespect, don't take this the wrong way, but she said, this person, they paid all this money, yada, yada, on this, and you haven't heard any of it. You're so upset about your chicken dinner. She goes, it's not about the chicken, ma'am. And so I thought to myself, oh my gosh, how many times in life do we miss something because we're focused on the wrong thing?
Yeah.
And that's what the book's about. Life lessons to help you make sure
it's not about the chicken.
It's not about the chicken.
So there is an interesting story. You started writing this book a while back.
20 years ago.
20 years ago. I didn't realize it was that long ago.
Almost 20 years ago, I started writing this book. Yes.
Okay. And tell me what happened with that.
When we decided to move down here, I lost the book because there was no computer. I was writing it in a handwritten in a binder.
How much of the book had you already written?
8 chapters.
Wow.
I wanted to do 16 chapters. So I thought I was more than halfway done. So when I moved here, I lost the book. I was devastated, didn't know what to do. Said, forget it, I'm not going to do with it. So about 3 months ago, my wife, wonderful wife, was really pestering me about getting something out of the attic for her. It really wasn't pestering me because I wasn't getting it.
You're backpedaling right now.
Well, I really wasn't. She really wasn't pestering me. I just wasn't listening, right? So I decided to listen and
go easy on him, Tracy.
Yeah, I tried to listen and actually go get this item. When I get home that night, she says, "You see what I found in this box? The book." So I got the book back. So I started writing. I got another chapter written to go back and make some edits, change a few things. But I'm very excited about the opportunity to be able to get this out.
When do you think it's coming out?
Well, I wanted to do it by this December coming up, this December. So I'm hoping that I can finish it by the year's end. Okay. That's my plan. If not, by next summer then.
All right. Well, I look forward to that.
Absolutely. You'll get the first coffee free.
Oh, I love it. Signed.
I don't normally give things free, but I'll give you one free signed.
I appreciate that.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm going to hold you to that, Jeremy.
I'm good with that.
So now it is time to wrap things up, and I always wrap things up with something I call final thoughts, and that is your chance to tell us the one thing that you really want the listeners to know about Jeremy Shugarts or any of your businesses.
I would say the most important thing for any person in life or in the world that they want to become self-employed, create a business, work for themselves, if they really, really, really want to do that, if they want to be that person, then don't let anything hold them back. Okay. And I think that's a big thing. You got to be able to take some risk. Life's full of risk. And I think that for me, I encourage people to walk a little on the wild side, take some risk. We only go through life one time. You can go through first class or you can go through in coach. It's up to you. I like first class a little bit better, but at the end of the day, I would implore you to follow your dreams, follow your goals, and visit one of our businesses at the same time. Yes.
And remember, it's not about the chicken.
It's not about the chicken. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
So we gave out all of the contact information after each segment there for each of your businesses. So we're not going to review that again right now. But as a reminder, you can always check those show notes for clickable links to the websites and social media. Thank you, listeners, for joining us today. I'm thankful for you always and for your support. And thank you again, Jeremy, for being on Topsail Insider Podcast and sharing your time and information about your businesses with all of us and serving the town of Surf City as well. We really appreciate that and your service in so many different ways to our community. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, if you enjoyed today's episode of Topsail Insider, please show your support by clicking the follow or subscribe button on your favorite podcast listening platform. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Please also go to topsailinsider.com and join our mailing list by clicking on the Make Me a Topsail Insider button. While you're there, you can click the Send Me a Voicemail button and let me know exactly what you're thinking. Your message just might be on an episode of Topsail Insider. You can email me at Krista@topsailinsider.com or call or text me at 910 800-0111. Thank you for listening and supporting Topsail Insider and our local businesses and nonprofits. These are our neighbors and our friends, and together we build a mighty and a beautiful community I'm super proud to be a part of. I'll see you around Topsail.
Hey guys, it's Leah with Topsail Talk. I explore local businesses, services, people, and activities in Topsail and its surrounding areas, and I post videos about them. You can find and follow Topsail Talk on Facebook and Instagram. You'll never know where we're going to go, but if you try one of my stops, be sure to tell them Topsail Talk sent you.